You're listening to Kevin and the Spleen.
No one's gonna ever love me.
1098.5 Radio QWX for quick.
Bussin', no cap.
No cap.
Really smack you in the ass with flavor. There you go. This show is about depression, anxiety, PTSD, and chronic illness.
We going quick. We're trying to keep you on the path to the ride home on the evening time.
It's a fucking zoo.
Make it Quicks with the Quicks Radio.
White lives do not matter.
Hello and welcome back to Spencer filling in for Kevin and the Spleen. Well, I suppose I'm mostly filling in for the Spleen. I think producer Kevin is in the building today. Kevin, you want to say hi to the fun people?
Hello. I actually had this last minute thought where I was just going to be like, hey, and see if I could just throw you off your loop a little bit. But
I think you got to embrace those instincts. I think that's what public radio is all about. And speaking of public radio, the Spleen has had to take a little break. Really what's happened is it turns out that WQWX, The Quick, is actually an NPR affiliate. And as a result of NPR being defunded by the government, they've had to do some tightening of the bootstraps. Nope. We've had to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps while tightening the belt. And so we've had to cut some of our programming loose, and it wasn't actually going to affect the Spleen, but when he got the group email about, upcoming changes to programming, he sent a video. In the video, he put on a cowboy hat and grabbed a rocket launcher and said he was going to set this right, whatever that means. So until now, we'll be filling in with back episodes of Fresh Air on NPR. So stay tuned for that. As always, we couldn't do this show without our endowments. So thanks to the John T. and Catherine C. MacArthur Foundation. They've been doing a lot for a lot of groups, especially in the field of human cloning, human testing, clone testing, and test cloning. So thank you for our sponsors. Today, we're also sponsored by Walmart, the only public sponsor of NPR. That's right, Walmart. Thanks to the Waltons. All right, we'll be back after a quick commercial break. That's right, NPR has commercial breaks now. We're not really... It's not clear what public radio really means, but it's starting to mean something different. So, see you on the other side of these ads.
Hey, it's me, the Spleen, and I'm going down to Wall Street with a big old rocket launcher to set things right. And if you want to help out, send me your Venmo bucks. That's right. At the Sixler on Venmo. Just give me money.
Is it good to give out your Venmo? Should we bleep that?
I don't think there's a harm in it, and also that would probably be the first one people would try. It's not like it's that much of a secret.
Yeah, I'm sure. Whatever. I'm sure some fucking clever dipshit's gonna send me some Venmo requests. I feel like someone sent me a PayPal money request once, asking for $5 for all the appreciation he's given me. And it's like, buddy, I don't know what to tell you about your appreciation, but The first I'm hearing of it is in this request where it comes across like a load of dog shit. So if that's thorough appreciation you've been giving me, you owe me $5 and probably more than $5, you know. And for all I know, he could have given me $5 in the past, but who knows? Anyway. Oh, Kevin, what's up? What's up with you this fine day, this fine weekend, this fine week? I'm good at the podcast, and the podcast is good, and you're good at the podcast too.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned NPR because, like, I was showing you just before we started, I had to grab a new crazy microphone that has all these. Oh, it's got lights on it.
I was gonna say it's blurry. It has this
it's blurry.
magical blurry effect.
But like the box actually said NPR like podcast voice mode. So that's what I have it in right now is podcast voice mode. So I don't know if I sound NPR right now to you, but apparently that's what this microphone is advertising I'll be able to do is sound NPR.
Wow. I just Googled that. I just Googled NPR like podcast voice mode. And it gave me a Shure mic. Oh, it's this. I thought it was the Shure mic I'm using, but it's actually a different one. Oh, man. Microphones, Kevin. Sometimes microphones can sound so good, it sounds bad. You ever get that?
Yes. Where it almost feels like you can feel every piece of saliva in their mouth. That's the point where I'm just like, that's too far. You need to like mute something.
I guess that's meant for use when you're doing high level audio editing to the audio to make it, really sound good. And it's just delivering you all the audio info. Like cameras are like that, like raw camera footage. It looks like washed out or something because it's like the info is so dense that like once you apply it, it could really look like something, but without that application, it just looks kind of gray for some reason because that's like what the raw footage looks like. I don't know. I don't know anything about anything, Kevin. I've been despairing about the fact that I have a lack of skills. I need marketable skills in this tough, ever-changing job environment. Well,
what kind of skills would you want to develop if you had the chance?
I've been thinking about that, but it's like, I don't know. I think getting better at video editing could be interesting, but that feels like, it feels like that could be like a dwindling job market too, there are a lot of like people who need video editing, but then there's also a lot of video editors, so I don't know. I keep thinking about trying to take improv classes again, but it's like, I don't know. The thing is, I think improv as a skill would be useful, but you get improv as a skill by doing improv, like doing improv practice and improv shows. And I guess I could do improv practice, but you need like a group for that. And doing improv shows mostly to get better at improv seems awful. I don't know. Maybe I'd take to it or something, but I've been investigating that. There's this podcast called Yes Also, and it's a very interesting podcast about improv, but it's so inside baseball that I'm like kind of having a hard time like enjoying it. It has interesting info, but also like, I don't know. I'm in this like depressive, regressive, like midlife crisis. I only plan to live 50 years. But midlife crisis or, whatever, third life crisis, whatever, where I'm like, man, I really have not done enough to do anything in the entertainment world, and like there's people that are on the podcast that are like roughly my age and they've been, doing improv for like 10 years and stuff. And it's like, man, I don't know if I have 10 years to just fart around trying to get good at improv, and to what end? Then I'll be good at improv and I could be on an improv show and make like $5 a night or something. Like, I don't know. It does seem, but I don't know. I just get all this like self-defeating stuff, this self-defeating thought. Part of it is just like, I think I mean, but this is why it would be good. I think like I cringe out too hard. Like I don't want to be like made a fool of, if that makes sense. I think I have control issues that I don't want to let go of. Like the idea that you're just going to let like a bunch of people of various competencies, either someone who doesn't know what they're doing or someone who like is really good, like run circles around you and just be like, you know, is like, I don't know, like doing in the improv class that I took, you do improv with very like beginner people. And so I'm sure that's bad because they're bad at it, not that I'm good at it. Like it was interesting how like taking the class helped me realize there's stuff that I had that was like, wow, I'm way better than these students at some of this stuff. But then other of this stuff, it's like, wow, even people who've never done this stuff before are like way better than me at other stuff. And so it was really interesting. It was like affirming in some ways and like insecurity inducing in other ways. But, like having people that are like clunky, like, I don't know. It's, I don't know. It just reminds me of like if improv is kind of like passing a ball or something. Something I think is really funny to do is when someone tosses you something for you to catch, if you just make no reaction and it just hits you in the chest and like bounces to the ground. Like improv, some of the improv things we were doing could feel kind of like that, where you'd throw someone a ball and it would just like hit them and fall on the ground. And it's like, I do think that's really funny when you do it in real life, but as a metaphor, that's not what you want. But yeah, I don't know. And it's like, and that's just something that I feel like I could be drawn into, in the sense that I like comedy and I like, performing on some level, and also like it might help my other, for writing or something, it might help that too. It's more, and then there's that's just like one avenue. There's also just like, if I want to get like a real gainful employment, like, maybe like, that's when I really start to shut down. It's like, I guess I could try and get a trucker license or something, I don't know. It's like, what are jobs people need, but whatever. That's the problem. It's like, I just don't know what I want to do. I was listening to like the Doughboy. Oh no, it wasn't Doughboys. It was Get Played. And the host, Nick Weiger, was saying like, I used to think I wanted to, make video games, and I worked in video games, and then I realized I didn't want to do anything. So I'm a podcaster. And it's like, yeah, I really don't want to do anything. And maybe that's why I'm a podcaster, but I don't know. I think I got to explore it more. I think I got to figure out some sort of thing. Oh boy. I mean, I don't know that it's good, but I sure can talk. I just did.
You did.
I really
I've
have.
got kind of some of the same issues too, where like what puts me off wanting to do improv classes, like I've gone into like it's not Second City, but same kind of thing where, students are performing and they're doing improv and there's a live audience and you can go sit and watch. And like I went to a couple of those because I was like, I want to do improv classes. Let's see what this is about. And I realized that like everybody on stage doing this kind of fit into two groups. I know this sounds really judgmental and not like me, but I'm just being really blunt about what my thoughts were. Mm-hmm. Either they were so good at this, they didn't need improv classes, like they were doing improv classes so they could be discovered by somebody. They were already great at it, mm-hmm. Or they were terrible at it. And they were probably never going to be better at it, which is harsh. But, there's some people that just don't have it, and that's fine. And
well, it could take a long time, Kevin, to get good. True. It could take a couple of years.
True. But like, you said you had your sense of cringe, and I like, okay, this is really cringy. This is not coming off this. And I'm like, that's what I'm going to be like if I do this, you know? And I don't want to be in a group of people where half of them are so much better at it than me already that they don't even need to be taking the classes. The other half of the people are my level or if even possible worse. And I'm just like, this does not sound like a fun experience to me, And like, I think this is one of the things that I personally have a tough time with is that like, I want to be the best in the room at whatever it is we're doing. And if I'm not, I find that challenging. Sometimes it's
Mhm.
good, sometimes it's not. Like I think I mentioned this before. Like when I first got my job as a video game designer and I was working at one of the top video game companies, it was a real shock to me to be like being in meetings of like a dozen people who were all like top of their field at animation and graphics and programming and all this stuff. And like that was a really hard shift for me coming from a really small town of being like the only computer guy in town to suddenly being thrust into this of all this like, wow, these people know so much more than I do. This is really hard for me. And it took me a long time to even admit that to myself.
Yeah, yeah.
So I get that. And like I don't know what the right fix is for it because I don't want to go take improv classes either because I feel like I'm gonna fall into one of those two buckets and it's not the good one.
Mhm.
And I don't know what to do there either. So I empathize, I sympathize. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I definitely know what you mean about like going from like big fish in a small pond into like a bigger pond and being like, ugh. It's hard to adjust to like not being like the smartest person or at least perceived the smartest person. Like sometimes I can, but like, or not sometimes I can. Like I can adjust to people who are like experts in their field, but it can sometimes be like tough to adjust. Like I'll have a thought and I'll either say it or want to say it, and then I'll be like, but you don't actually know this. You just have this strong feeling that you do, because in a lot of circumstances you like are the person who like knows the things, and that's a tough one. It's like a tough instinct to check. But yeah, I think that's part of it with improv for me too, is that I don't want to make an ass of myself. But I think like I do think improv classes can help specifically that feeling even in other fields. Like I think that's something they hypothetically can be, good for, hypothetically. But yeah, I don't know. What's that guy's name? I don't know. There's a guy who started what's called World's Greatest Improv School, and I think they want you to have at least a 101 class under your belt before doing it. So I might want to try and finish, but that seems like it's not UCB. It's like a different thing, and maybe I could go. I don't know. It'll just really, I need to find another job. I really like my job, but it's not getting me enough money. And it's hard for me. It's always been hard for me to think about the future, but I think part of that is because like I feel so short-term unsafe. And hypothetically, even back when it was like, when I was working on HarmonQuest, that was probably the long-term safest I've ever been in my life. But because I was just used to being in this mode of not being safe, like it still felt like I could just focus like right on what was on my plate and just nothing past that, which is, I don't know. Ever since I was a kid and I would go hiking, I have this weird like conundrum or something. I don't know what you call it. Oh, before we get too far, I just got a text message from this guy who is in my improv class. Just right while this podcast was happening. So that's weird. That's a really weird coincidence. Unless he listens to the pod or unless he watches the podcast, but I don't know that he does. But anyway, I have this weird like, I don't know, like question in my head about how like how do you even set this up? But like I guess it's a theory. I have this theory that like smaller animals have a harder time thinking big picture because they're so close to the ground. Like if you imagine like a bug being in the grass, like you can't see past like 7 blades of grass. It just gets too thick to see through, So like how can you plan so far ahead without like and maybe like smell or something broadens their scope of perception or something. But I don't know. So just in my head, it's like the larger animals can think ahead farther because they can see ahead farther. And so this is probably just nonsense, but I just imagine like, I wonder if you lifted up an animal so it could see farther, if it would like be like capable of thinking. I don't know. It's just like this weird, not like humans are smart because they stand high up or something, but like the idea that just like things that are like down in the dirt, like they necessarily can't think spatially too big, you would expect, but that's probably not true. Especially, yeah, like if they can be guided by scent, they can probably conceive of like a scented world that's much bigger than what they can see with their eyes. Hearing too, probably.
Well, I
Anyway,
think there's some wisdom to that though, because like one of the things people say is that like the most successful people out there are not necessarily the ones who made the best plans and saw the furthest in the distance. It's that when opportunity came, they recognized it and leapt on it quickly.
yeah,
You know, the if you look at all the people who were like wildly successful in life, in whatever metric that is, almost none of them like sat there from like childhood and like planned this whole thing out. Or even if they knew where they wanted to be, it's not that their plan took them there. It's that they had a chance encounter with somebody, or they had an opportunity pop up that they recognized took them to their goal, and they jumped on it. And
Mhm.
those are the people who are successful. The ones who tend to not achieve some of their higher dreams in life are the ones who look at that and go, yeah, I should have done that. So I think you're right. Like, the insect that only looked seven blades of grass in front of themselves has to be watching for that opportunity of the kid that dropped the candy in front of them, because that's going to completely change their life and they're going to be set for food forever. I think we're kind of the same way, is that, we can know where we want to end up, but it matters more that those chance encounters and those things that you can't really plan on happening, you recognizing that those bring you to your goal and then you doing it. And that's how I've tried to be, like everyone asks, like, how did you get to where you are in life? What was your plan? How did you achieve it? And I'm like, there was no plan. There isn't, Absolutely none of where I am today is because of some greater plan. It was just chance encounters that I jumped on and got to where I wanted to be. So
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
I think there's wisdom to that.
I think so too. And definitely when I think about my regrets, it's mostly like I was given opportunities that I was like, nah, I don't think I'm ready for this, or I need to prep more, or something feels a little off about this. And I'm sure, hypothetically, half or more of those would have fallen to pieces and done nothing. But if I did every single one of them, even the ones that fell apart, probably would have been like learning opportunities, or, resulted in some minor networking or something, and instead nothing happened. Which, I mean, that was the big Harmontown success, is that I raised my hand, which is very out of character for me, and then like from when that started, I was like, yeah, I should be like that more. Like I should put myself out there more. But then I feel like, yeah, I just kind of regressed to my old ways. Anyway, I want to talk about other stuff, but we should open sodas. You got your soda, Kevin?
I do. I got a Mountain Dew dragon fruit that
So I've been quite enjoying the Mountain Dew dragon fruits. I took some to a party and shared them with a couple people, and they were like, "This is so good," and I felt really great. I don't know. It was like very edifying to share the Mountain Dews with people who were enthusiastic about Mountain Dews. It's the dragon fruit is like a weird flavor. Like I wouldn't say like dragon fruit is like a great tasting fruit, but I think the Mountain Dew is like really good. I got the Summer Freeze, which presumably is the same flavor as their last year or 2 years ago Summer Freeze. It says cherry, lemon, raspberry. It's made like those like bomb pops or rocket pops or whatever, the red, white, and blue popsicle. But yeah, you wanna go first, Kevin?
Sure. Okay, so I'm smelling this here. It does smell recognizably like dragon fruit. I would also say maybe some kiwi or something like that in there. Like there's some exotic tropical fruit. I know kiwi's not super exotic, but like this isn't just like when most sodas go for tropical, they just add a bunch of pineapple and call it done. This is
Yeah.
more complicated.
I guess it's because kiwi is so like tangy, but for some reason I think of kiwi as a citrus fruit, which is insane.
Okay, tasting it. It's not as sweet as it smells, which is really good.
Yeah.
Because I was a little worried this was going to be so. Some of the latest Mountain Dews, I think, have just been so sweet that it's like I have two sips and I'm like, well, that's not drinkable, but it was good. This
Yeah.
actually isn't sweet. This is something like on a really hot day, I think would taste really good. This is,
Yeah. Go
you
ahead.
know, this isn't very. I almost would say this is more of like a Fanta or something than a Mountain Dew. I'm not getting a lot of the Mountain Dew kind of vibe to it.
I think Fantas can be very like, what do you call it? Syrupy, kind of like that
Hmm.
thick, that almost thick, viscous, almost kind of like sugary feel. And I think, yeah, it's not very sweet. I don't know that it's dry. I think there's that like thrashed apple that had this kind of dry flavor to it. And I wouldn't say it goes that far, but it's definitely drier than some of the other Mountain Dews. It's quite tart. I'd say the tartness is a little bit comparable to the thrashed apple. And I would say that there's like a floral note to it, like, which is also true of dragon fruit. Dragon fruits are like a really mild kind of like floral flavor with some of that like tropical passion fruit vibe in it, but not like as strong as a passion fruit. But it's it's kind of a vague, mild flavor, but it's quite nice, refreshing, and yeah, I think it's good for sipping. I think it's like it's I think it's like mild. It's like a it's like a 40-year-old's Mountain Dew or something.
Yeah, no, it's almost got this like rose water kind of,
Yes. Uh-huh.
or yeah,
Yeah, like a perfumey quality.
right. No, it's got this hint of almost like citric acid tartness
Hmm.
though, and it's a really complicated flavor.
Yeah, but I would say it doesn't have that like classic Mountain Dew citrus. It has like some different kind of maybe lime or something to it. But yeah, it doesn't. It really doesn't taste like Mountain Dew. I like they say kind of like dew with a blast of fruit or whatever. It definitely doesn't feel like dew with a something. It just feels like its own thing. That's a Walmart exclusive. You can only get those at Walmart. I got one in like South LA. I bought two 12 packs. And I had one of them, and I'm holding on to the other one for kind of longer term. How'd you get them? Did you get a 12 pack?
Yeah, I got a 12 pack from Walmart a couple days ago, and I've
Yeah.
been waiting to try it. It is good. I wish they wouldn't do the store exclusive just because it makes it so much harder, but I get why they do it.
Yeah, it does make it harder, but then like at least at 7-Eleven, like you definitely see like Mountain Dew fatigue at 7-Eleven, where it's like we're still like stocking like last year's voodoo or something, and it's like they haven't bought any new stuff because their old stuff hasn't sold. And it's like, yeah, if you like force a store like that to like pick what they're gonna stock, it's like they're not gonna fucking, you know. And so I guess it kind of like makes it so they don't have to like choose between all these flavors, maybe. But yeah, it's a bummer. There's this honeydew Mountain Dew that we've been wanting to get, and they're only sold at Maverick gas stations and maybe Come and Go gas stations. I'm not sure, because Come and Go is owned by Maverick or something, but we haven't really determined whether or not they can be found at Come and Go. I don't have Come and Go. You don't have any Mavericks near you. My closest Mavericks like an hour and a half away. Which I don't like calling. I like just showing up at a store and being disappointed, but I don't think I'm gonna go to Maverick. I gotta call. Imagine calling a gas station to be like, "Do you have this flavor of soda?" Like that's insane shit. But whatever.
Yeah. Well, there was one, I forgot what it was, but I think it was one of the ones from Circle K. Was it the purple one maybe
Purple
that I was trying
Thunder.
to? Yeah. That like there's one by my house that I went in there probably 7 or 8 times because they had the display up, but they didn't
Mm-hmm.
actually have any bottles. They had it in their fountain machine, but it was always empty. And so finally the manager noticed I had been in there like 6 or 7 times, and she's like, "What are you looking for? Like, can I help you? Like, you know?" And I was like,
Yeah.
"Well, I'm trying to find this." And she's like, "Oh, you must really like it." I'm like, "Well, it's for a podcast. We taste weird drinks, stuff like that." And she was really nice. She took my number and then like called me back when they got some in, and she held a couple for me because they were only getting them in a few at a time. So
That's cool.
maybe just be honest with them and be like, "Hey, I will be very nice to you if you call me when these come in."
Yeah. They love it when I'm nice to them. Yeah. There's also this, I think it's called like Baja Midnight or something that's going to come out in August, supposedly at a Taco Bell. And I was reading on Reddit that there's like, they've already added it to a lot of Taco Bells, but it says like out of order and it doesn't say the flavor. It's just like a white button, but it does dispense the Mountain Dew. And sometimes people are like, I got some, and the employee got mad at me. And it's like, it's a fucking button on your soda. Why you're gonna get mad at people for using it? But whatever. Anyway, I got the Summer Freeze cherry lemon raspberry. Cherry lemon? I thought it was cherry lime.
See, when I tried that one, I thought the flavor was so accurately one of those red, white, and blue popsicles that like I had this just a visceral reaction to just almost like I could feel my hand getting sticky from the popsicle melting on my hand. Like it was that much of a like repressed childhood memory that came out the moment I tasted that. Like I could feel my hands being sticky.
Yeah, this one for me, definitely like when I've been having diet sodas on the same day, it really throws off the flavor, or they're like different. I feel like with the Major Melon soda, like some of them would just be really not like flavorful and some of them would be. So I don't know if it's that or what, but this one is definitely feeling kind of weak to me, but you get a cherry lemon. Yeah, it just kind of feels like a punch kind of flavor. It definitely does taste like the popsicles. There's this kind of like tanginess that's like this super artificial melted popsicle tanginess that's like, it definitely tastes cheap, kind of like those barrels, those plastic like barrel drinks that are like not juice and not soda. It's like, it's this really weird, it has that kind of vibe to it where it almost, again, it tastes more like melted popsicle than it does soda somehow. But yeah, this one definitely tastes a bit off. But some of them seem to, or it's maybe just having artificial sweeteners in the same like time frame. Because that I've definitely noticed that drinking like diet soda before drinking like a normal soda makes it taste bad. I'm sure I've talked about that like a million fucking times. I don't know. Well, we talked about it, so I could drink the soda for the podcast. I love to drink the soda on the podcast. We also got more snacks from Michael. Michael sent us those snacks from Houston. But I don't know, Kevin. I feel like I want to get through emails. I feel like I thought we had more emails than we did. I don't know what the deal is. But the conundrum of emails, Kevin, is that I want to catch up on emails by going through them, but then we don't have any emails. And we need more, so I saw Superman today. You plan on seeing Superman? You see Superman?
Probably not in the theater, but yes, I want to see it.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. Crypto the super dog is in it, and I can't. I couldn't tell, like, I'm bad at seeing CGI or whatever. Like, I'm bad at noticing it, but I couldn't tell, was the dog CGI? Because the dog was doing some crazy shit. And I'm like, how do they get a dog to do this? But if it's CGI, it's like a really good looking dog. Like they really did it, I thought it was really fun. Someone pointed out that there was like a Metroid reference in the beginning. There's like this bad guy who goes through a portal and then he shows up somewhere else. And then he goes through another portal and they cut to this like long side shot, this kind of like sideways shot of him going through the portal and then through the other portal. And it definitely looks like Samus from Metroid walking through like one of those force field doors into another one, which was cool. I thought it was well done. Like Dan, not to the same extent, but like Dan, I think that Superman's a bit of a boring character. And I think despite that, they made like a really compelling Superman movie. James Gunn is just good. He's like, he's filling the humor is like good humor. It doesn't feel like weird Marvel kind of quippy humor per se. It feels very earned and in the universe, character driven and stuff. It's not too much humor. There's a lot of good visuals. There's like a lot of changing of pace and good visuals. Like there's the scene where he's like talking with Lois and there's like a big alien fight going on in the background. And it's not like, oh, that's so crazy that they're talking while an alien's happening, but like you're just seeing it out the window and it looks really cool. So it's like, it is like this heartfelt, like character scene kind of, but then it just also looks really good visually because there's like this space alien spewing like aurora borealises in like the blurry background or something, so it just looks really good, and it's just like it's really finesse. It's a lot of finesse, and it's great. There's like Superman kind of gets canceled a little bit in it, and I was like, I wonder if he's drawing from when he got James Gunn canceled, and there's like a part where they reveal that there's a bunch of monkeys on typewriters in the subdimension, and they're writing like they're the Russia bots. They're writing like all the online hate, and it's like, oh man, all the 4chan trolls who got James Gunn canceled turned out to be monkeys on typewriters in a subdimension. That's fun. What else? I think like this isn't much of a critique or whatever, but I think like my big complaint was at the very end, like Lex Luthor kind of lays out like, this is why I'm mad about Superman. And it just feels kind of like, well, you got to put this in the movie. It doesn't feel like it makes a ton of sense. The way he explains it doesn't feel very understandable or anything. Because like his argument kind of is that like Superman makes humans look like chumps. And he's like, the smartest man. So like, if you imagine him as, being a big fish in a small pond or something, he feels like slighted by the existence of metahumans and Superman, where they're like, well, that's not human potential. Like that's just some other thing. Like that's not impressive. You're just cheating, And I don't think that's like a bad premise. Like I do think that's interesting, but just the way they go through it is kind of like he just like blasts off a bunch of exposition, and it doesn't feel like, I mean, that's not really what's been happening in this movie. You're just putting that in there. And then similarly, Superman is like, but actually I'm just a person like you. Like and it's like, this also doesn't feel like, that feels a little bit more earned, because it's like, yeah, he's not like going gleep glorp, I'm an alien. He's just a guy wearing a suit, so you're not like, oh man, but you're not like us. It's like, no, you're Superman. It's cool. But when he's saying that, it doesn't feel, it's like, yeah, I don't, like, why are you being really upset about, like, it just feels like they had to like put this in, and so they just put it in at the end of the movie where they just yell it all out and then the movie ends. And it's like, this kind of doesn't really work for me, but the whole movie was really well done, and I think it wasn't such this like long drawn out conversation that you're feeling bored by it. It was just like, wow, that, if the whole thing was really masterfully done, that felt just a little bit like jammed in, towards the end or something. But it was a good movie. Anyway, Superman. I guess I got to see Fantastic Four. I also watch Miller's Crossing. I've been watching the Coen Brothers films because Blank Check is doing the Coen Brothers films, and Miller's Crossing was a lot of fun. They talk about, they say like weird gangster speak. They talk about the hi-hat, and they say, what's the rumpus? And what's the rumpus is a pretty good thing to say. But yeah, that's it. That's all. Do you have any movie catch-ups to speak of?
No, I mean, I have not been watching anything lately. Trying to think what even the last thing was that I watched. I started rewatching, for no obvious reason, Stargate. Just because
Were there multiple Stargates?
Yes, there were 4 series of Stargates.
Which one were you watching?
Universe, which was the last one that had the really annoying, it just ended on a cliffhanger series. Just because there's been rumors. So Stargate was owned by MGM. Amazon bought MGM a while back, and there have been a lot of rumors that Amazon is working on a new Stargate project. and the hope is that they're gonna like resolve this cliffhanger that they left the whole show on. So a friend of mine's into Stargate, so I've been rewatching that just like in the background while I'm working.
That's fun. Been watching anime. I watched all of Delicious in Dungeon the past few days. That's fucking a great anime. It's so good. It's cool because in the beginning they're like, look, it's D&D. They're in a dungeon. This is what's up. Get over it. They just like they throw out the premise so quickly, and then it's like we're just doing the premise now, and it's great. It's like every episode they like encounter some sort of dungeon issue, and there's a monster, and they're like, "What's the deal with the monster?" And they figure out how to overcome it, and then they figure out how to cook it, and it's fun. And it just keeps happening, and then you learn about the meta plot, and the meta plot. It does this thing that manga and anime do really well, which is they slowly parse out details that feel unrelated, and then they build to something really organically that feels like it works really well. And you don't know if like in the manga that they knew where it was going the whole time, or if they like organically built it based on like, oh, if this is true, what else is true? But it's just really well done. I don't know. Great. Can't wait for the next season. Okay. AI news. Okay. I read an article that Stardew Valley is coming out with a new content patch. Stardew Valley is a great game. More content, that's great. I love Stardew Valley. I'd restart it to play, the new patch. The new patch, Symphony of Seasons, is coming out on Stardew Valley, according to the article that I just read. But I was reading the article and it was like, oh, Symphony of Seasons is going to feature this new stuff. It's new seasonal fruits, new seasonal events and stuff. And I was like, oh, that's so interesting. But then I was like, wait, Symphony of Seasons, isn't that a traveling Stardew Valley themed like orchestra concert or something that's happening now? And I'm pretty sure that like AI just like found that something called Symphony of Seasons was happening, and like just decided that meant it was a new content patch. And then someone just like AI slopped an article about a new content patch that was happening that's not happening. And I was like, what the F? But another beat that we're on is the Elon Musk beat. And we didn't even talk about it. It's so far in the background now, but when it was happening, we didn't talk about it. That like Elon Musk and Trump had like this big falling out. Remember?
Yes.
And
I think they've still fallen out. I think they're just like they've reached a truce, is my guess.
Yeah, they are still falling out, I would say. That's why Elon is making attempts to start his own political party. And he did, right? I mean, he didn't start it, but he said the America Party. But in some of the like graphics, it was like the American Party, and some of them it was the America Party. So it's like they don't even know what they're.
Yeah.
But
well, and then Trump posted a meme of fat JD Vance. So are they fighting now too? Like I don't
know about this.
So he posted that fake picture of Obama,
the one where he looks like okay.
In OJ Simpson's Bronco being chased by...
yeah. Okay, I'm seeing it, and it's the fucking
and it's the fat
JD Vance.
JD Vance
he has this long, shaggy, kind of curly hair, not like the bald Cabbage Patch Kid baby, but it's like it's the Cabbage Patch face with like long.
Right. So either he didn't notice when he posted that, or he's mad at JD Vance now too. I don't know.
I'm sure he didn't think about it. I'm sure he doesn't understand memes, but yeah, like they had a falling out. Elon Musk all but admitted that he rigged the election. He said, I think he alluded to the Trump Epstein stuff, didn't he?
Yes. Not just alluded, like flat out just said, Trump is in the files.
And I wonder if that's part of what kickstarted all this stuff, all this Epstein stuff being in the news cycle again. I don't know. And then he posted, the thing that I'm mad about is that he posted a picture of a high-heeled shoe and a pig's eye. Do you remember that on the day that they were fighting? And he was like, tomorrow. And he just posted that. And then then he went on truce or whatever, truce mode. And he never followed that up. But it's like, what? Why is there a pig's eye?
I don't understand anything going on. This is so into just uncharted territory that yeah.
Yeah, and then he opened a Tesla diner, and everyone's mad about that. There's people protesting to Tesla diner. I haven't dug too deep into that because it just all pisses me off. Someone posted a picture of they just had a bunch of like milk sitting out in the heat that they hadn't taken in from the delivery. But, you know, maybe they just took the picture at a bad time. Maybe it was only out there for like a minute or something. Who knows? But yeah, I was talking about on my Discord, I was talking about the Epstein stuff because like this Epstein stuff's going like it's wild how it's actually caught up. I mean, the thing is, once Republicans like get the memo on what they're supposed to think, like they kind of calm down. But we're still in this like mode where people are still kind of like, the Republicans are still like in disarray about it. And of course, you got the Democrats being like, we shouldn't be talking about this. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I don't like accepting the frame that Democrats like don't stand for anything, because I do think they stand for stuff. They just stand for stuff that's bad and not relevant. But they believe in that stuff. That's my take, is that they actually believe, they have a political vision. It's just that the political vision they believe in is about as depressing as saying they believe in nothing, because it's very similar to what we already have. It's what's not working, you know. It's maybe marginally better. Like, it's the kind of shit that like allows them to go like, Zoran Mobdani is such a, you know, piece of shit. Like, what is he trying to pull? It's like, what is he trying to pull? Marginal improvements to the place he's trying to govern. Like, that's what Democrats should be standing for, but they get so butthurt about it because they're like, what do you expect? It's like, we expect you to care, like, about actually doing something. And so, but you definitely, the not focusing on the Epstein stuff is like, what do you mean don't focus on it? Don't focus on the fact that the president of the United States raped a bunch of children? How are we not going to focus? How can you not? How is that not something that you're politically fired up upon? You don't care that children are being raped by the president? Like, what the fuck are you, like, in every metric, like optics, like attack vectors, just child safety, like there's no reason not to, like, there's like not a single argument against focusing on it. And that was before like all this fucking shit came out, but there's still, people are still saying that shit. But like, you know, the Republicans, like they announced that they had the Epstein files and that they were going to release them. Then they said they're not going to release them for various concerns. Then they said the Epstein files, they don't exist. The things that they were about to release, they said they don't exist. Then the Wall Street Journal reported on, was it the birthday book? I don't know. There it was like some personal letters or correspondence between Epstein and Trump where, you know, they made very vague reference to, like, I don't know. When I was talking to Jeff Ekman about it, he was telling me about it, and I was digging into it, but I forgot. But the way he put it is, he was like, Trump was like, yes, you and me, we have something in common. We both appreciate the most special thing, the most secret and good thing there is. Like, just like so gross and so obvious what they're talking about. And then the Wall Street Journal, they should have just published the letter. Like, they just like said, like, we're looking at a letter and we're telling you what it's saying. But I don't know why they didn't just publish it, especially like now that they got sued. It's like, just fucking publish it. But there's also like,
my hope,
yeah, go ahead,
is that they're trying to set somebody up as a trap to, like, someone's going to say, well, here's what the letter says, and then they're actually going to produce the evidence to show what it literally does say. But I don't, maybe that's just wishful thinking.
Well, I feel like that's the kind of thing like a prosecutor would do. I don't know that journalists would like be doing that. You know, that feels like journalists should just be reporting. I mean, maybe they're saving it for a fucking book that they're going to publish. But But yeah, like one of the things is that Trump drew like a picture, and me and Jeff were talking about it. Trump like draws pictures. You can Google like Trump pictures, and like people have like they keep these pictures. I actually think they're kind of neat. Like you imagine like the alternate world where there's just like a Mark Cuban guy, like Mark Cuban. He just draws pictures and sends them to people, and then people are like, "Hey, I have this picture that draw Mark Cuban." Like it's kind of cool. Like I think that's like a neat thing. Like it's the kind of thing that like not humanizes Trump, but like pulls him back from like the abyss of non-personhood. Like he's so not a real person. And it's like, no, a real person actually does draw little drawings sometimes, you know? So I don't know. But like, it definitely lends credence to the validity of the letter or whatever, because if they released it, it would be very clear if it was like in his style, Also, you'd probably be able to tell from his signature because his signature is really obvious. But then the Wall Street Journal reported that the Justice Department briefed Trump on the fact that he was in the Epstein files. And then yeah, and also, Kevin, they released the footage of Epstein's cell, and there was 3 minutes edited out of it. That's like, how is this? How, like, and Democrats are like, we can't be talking about it. They can't be talking about that they deleted footage of them murdering Epstein in prison. Like, what the fuck are we doing? Like, this shit's insane. That actually does, like, maybe you would want to do more entrapment, like you were kind of saying. But like, that should be like national fucking news. I mean, it kind of is, but like, everybody should be talking about that constantly, that they killed Epstein and deleted the video footage and edited the video. It's like, it's so fucking crazy. I wonder if it'll stick. Like, it does seem like, if you talk about Teflon Don, like this does seem like something that's actually, for one, like actually pissing him off. But for two, it seems like people are actually paying notice. I don't know. Like, there's shitty conservatives at my work who I haven't, taunted them about the whole Trump thing lately. But like, you got to wonder what those people, like, they're cultists, but it's like, I mean, a big part of their cult is that they hypothetically don't like child predators. So like, what's the, I don't know. You can believe anything. They're fucking stupid. But like, it's hard for me to imagine that it's like, oh, this is a made up smear campaign. It's like, I mean, no, it's not. It's like, we've known this shit about them since before they were political figures. It's not like this came out of nowhere, but whatever.
This is what I don't understand, though. Like, something made them decide to announce, okay, we're done with this investigation now. It was all fake. It's done.
Mm-hmm.
That seems like an unforced error. They didn't need to do that.
All this shit's unforced errors.
Right. Hey, they could have slow walked this for another 3.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
They could have like, yeah, we're investigating this so hard right now, and then like come up with some nonsense arrests, and like they could have done so many things that would have placated both sides even a little bit. Even if it didn't go after Trump, they could have said like, hey, we've made arrests. Like that was the thing about Doge that really got me too, was that like, if there was all this fraud you found, why is nobody in jail for this right now? Fraud's illegal. Stealing from the government is illegal. Like, if you found billions and billions of dollars of fraud, why is nobody in jail? Like, they could have done this so much smarter in a way that did not end up with this result of like everybody mad now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not that I'm accusing them of like being master strategists is this sort of thing, but somebody there had to have said at one point, maybe announcing the investigation is over with nothing happening is the worst possible like cover we could come up with at the moment. Why don't we just not do that? And nobody did. That's what just kills me.
Yeah, they're very clearly incredibly incompetent, so that's always like one of our few saving graces here, is that they really can't do anything. Like, Pete Hegseth, like imagine if he were just like a half decent, half competent person, they'd be doing all the same shit, just better and not leaking fucking text chats. But think part of it is just they're panicking. I think it's hard to execute effectively when you're freaking out because like your boss is like a child rapist and you're like, I don't know what the fuck we're gonna do. It seems very clear that like if any of this gets out, it's not like he can go to jail. They ruled that, I wouldn't be surprised if Trump's like, actually, I'm allowed to. I'm the president. I'm allowed to rape children. That's what the Supreme Court said. But whatever. And then Ghislaine Maxwell, that's something where I'm sure that's going to be really gross once that gets out because she was talking to Trump's private lawyer about like giving details in exchange for leniency, which like, I don't know. I mean, everybody knows different stuff, but there's the docuseries, the Netflix docuseries on Epstein. That's like one of my only like big documents that I learned about all this stuff on. And the docuseries makes it really clear that she didn't just furnish the girls for other people to have sex with. She had sex with the girl. Like she had all sorts of sexual contact with the girls and with Epstein at the same time. So it's not just she was trafficking girls. She was raping them too. Like, and so like, oh, the child rapist president is going to pardon a child rapist sex trafficker and try and play her off as like some unwitting patsy in all this just because she was like, quote, maybe coerced by like Jeff Epstein's power to like do all this stuff. It's like, that's a bad look too. Like you just wonder. I mean, and then you wonder what the fuck's going to happen because it seems like they can rig all the elections from now on. I don't know. It's all crazy. It does seem, I mean, it's easy to be hopeful and then it all just disappears or they declare martial law or something. But I don't know. You got to imagine in Trump's first term, if stuff like this was all coming out, that like there'd probably be bigger protests. Now it's just like, yep, that's, or what are you surprised? You know, that's what's up. You know, it sucks. It's a bad world. We built a bad world. I didn't. You guys did. Our listeners.
Yes. It's all your fault.
Anyway, I think that's most of what I have in my pocket. Do I have anything in my notes?
I got this. A company sent me this. I don't like this is really only useful if you can see me. So I got these sunglasses that actually have two lasers that shoot video into my eyeballs that they're trying to like convince companies like mine to buy for our employees to use. And how would you describe this to somebody who's not watching right now, Spencer?
Well, to me, it looks like your sunglasses are made out of a green screen that's showing, I guess, our zoom on it. But you're so clearly showing it. It's like it's just a green screen effect. I can just see what you're seeing, I guess.
Well, no, you're seeing a reflection because this is almost a mirror sunglass. And then
it's very mirrored.
There are, I don't know if you can see, there's a screen in there on each eyeball.
Yeah. So that's like about the middle third of your lenses is a screen. What does that show?
So right now it's just plugged into my phone. So whatever's showing on my phone shows on here, but there's devices too where you can like broadcast to it. The idea is supposed to be like, so, my company runs data centers and we have tens of thousands of servers all spread throughout this building. And just even trying to find the correct one is a problem. So what this company is trying to do is say, give your employees these sunglasses. And as they put these on, it will guide them almost with this like Google Maps kind of thing to show them where to go. Like when they open up the door to a cabinet, show you which server it is, which plug it is. And at the same time, they can be doing video calls and all of this. But it is the most obtrusive, stupid, heavy thing. It's almost like taking, one of the Apple Vision Pros and removing part of it, but it feels just as like heavy on my face. And the center third of my vision is completely blocked by a video screen. So if I want to like walk, I have to like tilt my head back like this so that my vision is under the video screen. This is one of the dumbest products I've ever seen. And I don't know why I'm showing this, but it was sitting on my desk. So
Maybe I just wasn't listening or something, but how do you actually, what kind of video is it showing you and how do you get the video into it?
So it has HDMI in on the side here, so you can plug this right into your phone and just mirror your phone screen to it.
You have to plug it in.
You also can wirelessly
Oh, okay.
like Chromecast kind of to it. You know, you can send it video from other things. It's battery powered, but it's got a cord attached to it too, so that you can here. Let me see if I can.
I kind of think that the Apple Vision is like a great way to do it, where they offload the battery and then the battery is just connected to something and you put it on your like pocket or your arm or something. That seems like a really smart. I kind of want like more of the computer brain to just be kind of like off to the side, because it's not that I have a problem with it being on my body, but I don't really want it to be the weight to be hanging from my face, you know?
All right. Well, so that's, you notice how wide the arms are on the side of the glasses.
Yeah.
There's batteries on one side, and on the other side, it's a little mini computer.
Mm-hmm.
But this is one of the, it's such a good idea that I wish this worked better, because I would love this, but I feel so stupid putting this on. And then I have to walk with my head tilted back just so I don't run into things, because it's blocking the most important part of my vision.
Yeah, yeah. That's wild.
So anyway, Ray Neo is the company if you really want to buy one. It's called Ray Neo. And you can watch movies and TV shows and stuff like that on it too.
What's it look like in terms of what you're seeing? Like, is it too close? Does it feel like, is it blurry? How does that feel?
It's not blurry. It's really weird in that it has to be positioned exactly right, because it's like shooting into your eyeballs. So it has to be like exactly where, if it's a little bit too high or a little bit too low, you're cutting off part of the video. Mm-hmm. So you have to very carefully position it on your face, but like basically assume from like 2/3 up to, a third up, maybe the center third, maybe a little bit higher than that, is just taken up by really, high quality, bright video. The video is fantastic. It looks great. It can do 3D video too. It's got two separate, projectors, so each eye gets its own, so you can actually see things in 3D and stuff like that. But it's so awkward. The battery life is so short. And unless you have it tethered to something in your pocket, it's kind of pointless. And I just feel like an idiot, Yeah.
Sure.
I thought if I was on a plane trip or something, I could throw these on, watch a movie, but I can't imagine sitting like this and not having everybody look at me going, what is your problem? Why are you wearing...
They're so mirrored. I feel like anyone seeing you would just react to that more than anything else. It's like you're literally wearing mirrors.
Yes. And I don't know if you can see, but that's what the screens look like inside there. So that's roughly how much of the vision is taken up by the screens.
Yeah, they're kind of like half moon spectacles inside the glasses or the screens.
Yes.
That's cool though. I mean, it's interesting. I was talking to Jeff Ekman about Apple Vision, because he's like a huge Apple fan. And he's really excited by the Apple VR stuff. In the first VR, they kind of it's basically the same as the Quest 3 or whatever, where you have video pass through, and then it puts the screens like in front of you, kind of like far away from you, so it looks like they're just kind of like maybe 5 or 6 feet away. But if two people are wearing a Vision, you can't see the same digital object. You just see your own instances of the digital objects. So like I'd see a screen and you'd see a screen. But they're either have or they are coming out with the Apple Vision 2, and the 2 let two people see the same digital object in the same visual space, so they can like pin it to the same geographical location and like point at it and be pointing at the same thing, which seems like a cool, upgrade. I wonder what the other competitors do in that, because I would definitely believe it, because VR is more meant for a single person to like be somewhere else than it is to have multiple people in the same physical space. But if you're like doing digital computing or virtual computing with people in the same space, you definitely want it to, be persistent between two instances of virtual reality, But I wonder, the thing you really want is you want and who knows how many versions it would take to get this, but what you really want is you want me to have my headset in my house and Jeff to have his headset in his house, and somehow I'm in Jeff's house and he can turn and see me on his couch and we'll both see the same screen in his physical location. But like that, I think is, it makes sense that first you have to have the computer look good for you, and then secondly you have to be able to have two people in the same physical space look at the same digital object in the same physical space. But then, the next evolution is how can two people be in different spaces, feeling like they're in the same physical space, looking at the same digital object in the same digital space, that could be interesting. And Kevin's got some ski goggles.
Yeah, so I got the Apple Vision 2. It's the heaviest thing I've ever seen. Like it's so heavy on my face that I can't stand using this for more than 5 minutes at a time.
What's the weight?
And then you got the whole like really heavy battery pack you got to keep in your pocket too and stuff like this. But it
23 ounces.
It's weird because all the weight is on the front and there's no weight on the leverage. Back. So it's just it feels heavier. Like I think if it was balanced better, I would like this a lot more than I do, because it feels so like it's just pulling my head downwards,
Yeah. Yeah, it's a leverage thing. Like in physics, there's weight pressing down, but what it's actually doing is the weight is essentially on a lever arm, and you multiply it by like the fulcrum length. And so by having all the weight on the one thing, you're like the whole distance to the back of your head is like amplifying how much weight is pulling down. I mean, the MetaQuest 3 is about half a pound less. Yeah, that's pretty comparable, or that's pretty big if it's on your face.
And I've got that too. That's more balanced. This just like the weight is really far forward.
Well, I feel like the head strap on the Quest, the one that goes over your head, probably does a good job of pulling it up on the front, so it kind of distributes it more evenly. Whereas having just sideways straps it just makes it, it's like pressing into your nose kind of. But yeah, it's I do have faith in Apple. I think if anyone can crack VR, it's them, but they have to stick with it. Like Apple's first iterations of stuff is never where it's at.
Yeah. And they did say this was a developer preview. Like this wasn't intended really for mass market. This is like get the technology out there so people can write apps and stuff like this. But I've tried to like think of an app to write for it, and I just can't think of anything compelling enough for this kind of environment that I would want to use.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is that when I was talking to Jeff, I don't know. I kept saying the same thing over and over, but something that you don't think about until you're wearing VR goggles is how much weight you put on a technological use case not involving shit on your head. Like you can imagine when you don't have shit on your head, you can imagine all this cool stuff that you could do in VR, but then you put something on your head and then you're like, well, wait a second. I could do this on a real computer and then I wouldn't have shit on my head. Like like when you have shit on your head, you're like, what am I getting out of this that's worth having fucking shit on my head? Because you really need something impressive. Like, I don't know. I've been messing around in VR a little bit lately. I was on VR chat, and the thing is you can log into VR chat on a regular computer. And it is interesting to be on a headset in VR, but at the same time, it's like, I could be on VR chat on my computer, like I'm sitting right here, and I wouldn't have fucking shit on my head, like, and wouldn't that be just as good or better? I think if like you actually have like the full hands and feet kind of sensors that like do like full on finger control and stuff, so you can do more elaborate gestures and stuff, I do think it becomes more fun because it's like, oh, I'm in a virtual space, I'm kicking this guy in the butt or something, that's fun. But if you're just going to like float around, like have these hands kind of in front of you that are just like a digital ghost, it's like, well, might as well just be on a computer, anyway.
Yeah. The only time I've actually really used the Apple Vision was it has a feature where you can make it's like a second monitor for your computer appear in virtual space. Like I can literally like put it here next to me.
Yeah,
and then
no, that
walk out
shit's
of the
awesome.
room and then come back and it's still right here.
Yeah, or imagine
And
doing like video editing. You can have like multiple giant screens, you know?
yeah, so like there was an instance where I was somewhere else and I was trying to watch something on my computer that was going to take a long time to finish, but I really needed to keep watching it. So I put the headset on, I put the monitor sort of next to me so I could like keep over every so often just glancing at it while I went off and did other things. But it still was just so awkward, and I'm not gonna lie, I bumped my head into walls and stuff like that because I misjudged the distance. Because
Yeah,
even though
that happens.
the cameras are really good in the Vision Pro, you still don't get the correct depth perception. You know, like it tries to warn you and tell you, hey, you're about to hit something. But when you're walking around kind of forgetting, you know, after about maybe 30 minutes, you forget you're wearing it.
Right, yeah.
And you kind of ignore all because it's constantly popping up. Oh, you're too close to this. You need to move away from this. This is in your way. You just start closing those things without paying attention to them. And I've smacked into stuff with this before and went, okay, yeah, this is not quite ready yet.
Yeah. It's tricky. Yeah, with the Quest, my big problem is after a while it kind of looks like you can see the pixels on the Quest, but after a while it just looks like kind of like you're looking through a screen window, like a window screen, where it's like, oh, it actually looks real. It's just I have to look through this pixel glass to see it. And so your brain can kind of get used to that. But then for me, it's like, then I'll pull out my phone and I'll be looking at my phone and I'm like, I can't fucking read this shit. Like it looks all fucked. Yeah. Which that's one of the bigger like disconnects that I have when I was using it. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that it would be like worth it, but I have this idea for a VR game that's kind of like Minecraft, but you're in like a spaceship and you can like build out your spaceship and do stuff in your spaceship, or you can like go around Minecrafting in your spaceship from like the pilot's seat, where it's like, I don't know, you know, essentially you have your equivalent of like a pickaxe on the front of your spaceship, so you could go fly to like an asteroid and mine the asteroid, but you know, you don't, and so you're enclosed in a space, so you don't have to be like running around like a world. You know, your ship kind of moves around, does most of the locomotion, but then you could go to like, I don't know, the science bay and like do a science experiment, and you could be like standing and touching it, you know, that could be cool. But like, yeah, that's the thing is in terms of productivity, it's like, well, you know, what's productive is a computer. Like you don't really need VR to like enhance your productivity. But, all right. I just got a last minute thing. So I think last week or something, we mentioned that I was married to Dax Shepard and Kristen Bell. And I was listening to this podcast ad. It was an Airbnb ad. And man, I get why advertisers want to use celebrities in their ads, but like, if you're not going to fucking get anything out of the celebrity, it's like, why are you doing it? You know how much fucking money you have to pay a celebrity to do like a basic bullshit ass ad spot that you could pay like a no-name jackass, you know, to do? Like there's this ad for Airbnb and it was like Kristen Bell, like, and she was like, hey, I use Airbnb to do this thing. And my husband Dax loves it too. I don't know if it was Airbnb. It might've been something else. And Dax was like, yeah, I enjoy it. And it's like, that could have been fucking anybody. You could have just said, I'm fucking Dax Shepard. Like, and it could have just been not him. And it would have like, it doesn't, like when you're watching a commercial and you see a guy and it's like, hey, I'm Dax Shepard. And when I'm not being the armchair expert, I love to, you know, drink a Coca-Cola. That's like, wow, Dax Shepard, he drinks a Coca-Cola. Wow. But if you're just hearing it, you don't get that like, holy shit, Dax Shepard, I can listen to him talk about him drinking a Coke. Like it doesn't fucking, like the name recognition does not like scan the same way. I just listened to a fucking commercial. Charlie Puth, who I think is like a DJ or something, music artist. He was like, oh, I'm Charlie Puth and I like the Bic 4-color pen. And it's like, motherfucker, I do not need to hear Like the fact that Charlie Puth claims to use a Bic 4-color pen, like that means nothing to me. It's like anybody can be like, man, check out this pen. It's fucking cool. It does 4 colors. Holy shit. It's almost like, ugh. If you need Charlie Puth to be telling me about this pen, clearly you don't care very much. Like you don't have a lot of faith in this pen. And I was like, I don't know. It just pissed me off. Like I feel like everything in Hollywood is getting so top heavy. And this is like just another example of like a fucking print ad where a guy says like 2 sentences about a pen and gets paid like who knows how much. Do we got to get out of here? Can I do an email?
You can do an email.
Yay. All right. David writes, first time, long time. Kevin, I love you, but I'm addressing mainly Spencer here as I'm asking in regards to writing. How has your attitude approach changed over the years, especially given your close professional contact with the story circle method? Did you find it was adequate for your work in narratives and semi-emergent narratives like DMing? I don't really use it that much in my DMing. I think outside of that, in normal writing, I use a lot. But DMing is more like, to me, it's more like a spatial thing, which I think I could work on that, honestly. But it's also more cause and effect. It's more like dominoes or something where it's just like you kind of put ideas and you link them together. It doesn't necessarily have to form a cohesive story because you can't like force players to do anything. You can just give them different toys to mess around with, I'm sure different groups that's more or less true, but in general, like when I try a narrative, it falls apart and I need something else anyway. I have a particular interest in this as I've been working on an essay about the potential flaws, blindsides, and rote usage of methods such as the circle, save the cat, third act structure. I've been studying narratology and narrative theorists in a non-academic way, and I wish to create a more well-founded methodology for constructive usage, hence your particular experience as a writer. Happy to talk live about it, but I live in the antipodes, so I would need to know ahead of time when to expect it. Thanks, David. That could be interesting to talk about. But, I mean, I think, I think there's definitely problems with like a lot of the story structures. But the main one is just like I think the hero's journey is often like inherently fascist format where it's like there's this guy who's being held down by the bonds of society, and eventually he takes strong action breaking the bonds of the laws of nature that are holding him back, and he creates a new powerful paradigm by being such an amazing person, and that makes everything okay. Most superhero narratives are like that. They're like, oh, what are all these laws? They're just trying to stop Superman from saving the day. And that's like, if only Hitler had more power, then he would be able to create the Fourth Reich or whatever, Third Reich, whatever. So I think there's a lot of problems, and also there's a lot of stories that can be really satisfying. But I also think if you bend over backwards, you can fit stories into structures, even if I don't think they really fit. Sometimes I feel like the story circle does that, but also I think there's parts of the story circle that can be out of order. Like I think like 3 through 7 can all be kind of out of order, and 7 and 8 can be out of order. Like, so once you account for that, like it becomes more like less stringent. But I don't know. I also think that like a lot of good stories use one of the structures just because it feels satisfying. There's this book, I think it was by John Truby on storytelling, and I think that's an interesting structure. It kind of talks about how you can mess with the macro structure of it a lot, but it feels very satisfying to be going in that. And I don't know, like I really like superhero stories. I think because they're like these kind of tall tales, these epics that kind of relate to us in different ways. And I think there's something about like this classic structure that's very satisfying, even if it's not like the only way, or even if it does have pitfalls. So I don't know, whatever. You got any last words, Kevin?
All right, quick question here. So, I like the idea of the story circle. I like shows that use that kind of format and things like that. But my favorite episodes of TV shows and things like that are always the ones where they break the fourth wall, or they screw with the format, or they're very meta, or they're things like that. I had someone recently tell me that was a very immature way to appreciate written programming, TV shows, whatever. And that if that's things I'm enjoying the most, then I'm not actually enjoying the thing itself. Like Community, I loved Remedial Chaos Theory, the one where they had like 7 different versions of the same show play, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Do you think there's any truth into that? Of that, like, if that's what you enjoy most about something, you're not actually enjoying the thing, you're enjoying breaking the thing?
Well, I mean, first of all, Remedial Chaos Theory does definitely use the story circle, but who told you that?
Oh, a friend of mine I work
So
with.
that's some like douchey shit. That's some like
Well, I'll let him know. He said it in a
yeah.
more nicely way. I was just trying to summarize quickly here.
It just feels like a kind of like know-it-all kind of thing to say. No, I think humans are drawn to novelty, and I think you're being drawn to the novelty. I think, so much of storytelling, even good storytelling, is like telling the same kinds of stories over and over and over. I mean, Hero of a Thousand Faces the premise was we tell the same stories over and over and over, and cartoons and a lot of movies, they're taking cues from other things. We're just all redoing it with our own twists and stuff anyway. Like, and so I think finding something that like breaks the mold or something is really good. But also just like, I think like what you're talking about is like intentional subversion, but also there's just story structures that are very non-standard. And maybe like, because I respond the same way. Like when there's story structures that feel like they don't fit the story circle or feel like they subvert expectations, my instinct is like, see, look, like you really can tell like a really cool story without doing like all of these beats beat by beat. But I think if you tried, you also probably could fit that to a structure successfully too. I don't like think that hard to make sure it's like, oh, actually it does fit the numbers, but I bet you probably could. But no, I think Dan's really meta. Meta is that. Meta's like, look, I'm not just telling a story. I'm showing you the frame, and that's cool. I mean, Gary Shandling, is that his name? Yeah, Gary Shandling. He was like, he did that a lot. And what's his face? The the Jewish child guy, Woody Allen. Child, yeah.
I was trying to figure out how you meant Larry David with saying that. I was
No,
he can't mean Larry David.
Woody Allen was meta too, and I think that was part of why people liked him. So it's like I think it's like, and also just like that's kind of how comedy is in general, where you're like subverting expectations in clever ways, and then that becomes rote and that becomes the normal language. And then so you have to subvert them in new ways. And if you go back to like old comedy, you're like, yeah, I fucking seen this a million times, because it's like it used to be kind of cutting edge and interesting and maybe even edgy. And now it's like, no, we do that all the time now, So I think it's very, very standard to be impressed by these novel approaches or subversions. I think that's not bad. And I think it's very human. I think it's kind of what everybody does. I don't know.
That's good. That makes me feel better. I mean, I do feel like I enjoy those kind of things more than the average person does, but I don't think that takes away from enjoying the rest of it either.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. But that's our show. Thanks to David for the email. Thanks to Michael for the snacks that we didn't try. Thanks to me for coming up with something to talk about for the whole time without having to go into too much emails or food. Although we did do the soda, but also I just kind of wanted to drink a soda. But yeah. So we like to end the show the same way we do every week. So end the show.